Here's more wrestling news for May 18th, 2022, and your headlines for this afternoon include WWE introduced the Cody Rhodes countdown because they believe he's a big ratings draw, WWE's original plans for Sasha Banks before her Raw walkout, WWE superstar Sasha Banks and Kevin Hart engage in lightsaber battle on Cold as Balls, is Sasha Banks and Naomi situation a work, concern over Darby Allin becoming a cripple by the time he's 40, JBL claps back at Buff Bagwell claiming he tried to end his career, rumored details on WWE Nixing massive spot between Bobby Lashley and Omos on Raw, reason WWE removed Nikki, A.S.H, and Doudrop from Raw main event, Nash Carter opens up about situation that led to WWE release, MJF deletes tweets in support of Nash Carter after WWE release, I'll never forgive him. Wrestling legend holds Jon Moxley responsible for destroying 5-time WWE Champion singles AEW career, and more. We are starting off with Cody Rhodes, who has been given the star treatment ever since he returned to WWE and set his sights on becoming world champion. On this week's Raw, WWE introduced a Cody countdown, letting fans know just when he would be on the show, as the company wants fans to see him as a big deal. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer said that this week's Cody countdown was the next step, as last week saw the commentators point out a special time fans should tune in to see him. WWE's belief is that saving Cody for the third hour is their best shot to retain fans, as it's hour 3 that usually has the fewest viewers, and that WWE were pleased with the results last week, hence this week's Cody countdown. The American Nightmare is certainly one of the biggest stars WWE has right now, and can use him how they see fit, which right now means he'll be saved for the third hour of the show. Now, Sasha Banks is one of WWE's most recognizable stars of this generation, and recently, the boss was a guest on Kevin Hart's show, Cold as Balls. The show sees celebrities be interviewed while sat in an ice bath, and in a preview clip, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion channeled the Force. In the clip, Banks is seen dueling lightsabers with Hart, a nod to her role as Cosco Reeves in The Mandalorian. While Banks didn't use the darksaber that is a pivotal part of the show, she did have plenty of fun dueling with Hart, and fans can't wait to see the full episode of Cold as Balls. Of course, Banks and her tag team partner Naomi walked out of this week's Raw, forcing WWE to change their plans. On TV, the women's tag team champions were branded as unprofessional on commentary, but some have questioned as to just how legitimate this incident was. After things transpired, WWE Hall of Famer Road Dogg Jesse James spoke on Busted Open Radio, bringing his years of expertise as SmackDown's lead writer. James said that given WWE addressed it on TV and put a statement out on social media, it makes him feel like this situation is a work, and said that if this was real, WWE would not have made things so public. When CM Punk walked out of WWE for good in 2014, WWE didn't address Punk's decision to leave for weeks and only made passing reference to it, a much different response to what's transpired this time. Road Dogg is no longer with WWE, but he knows how the company operates, and as far as he's concerned, fans shouldn't believe everything they read. Over to AEW next, as Darby Allin is one of the promotion's most popular stars, and for good reason. Not only is the former TNT champion a cool character, but his in-ring ability is impressive, but may be too much for his body to handle. That's at least how Booker T sees things, as during his Hall of Fame podcast, he discussed Allin and his work rate during his recent match with Jeff Hardy. Darby Allin really will become a cripple by the time he turns 40 years old. Bottom line, he would not be able to walk. He would have so much surgery done on his body by the time he turns 40, it's not going to be funny. Allen's work rate may be incredible, but his career may be shorter than you'd think if he keeps going at this pace, though the only people who can really decide if he needs to dial it back is Tony Khan or Allin himself. For years, Jillian Hall worked for WWE, becoming a one-time Divas champion, but had one of the worst experiences of her life as an employee of the company. In 2009, Hall suffered a miscarriage while employed as a superstar, and this week spoke about the ordeal in defense of John Laurinaitis. On Twitter, Hall revealed what had happened and said that Laurinaitis was incredibly graceful in his handling of the matter, adding that she had a complete mental breakdown in LA. Hall said how Laurinaitis got her on a flight home and found a doctor for her immediately and would regularly check in on her when she was off the road. Since her release in 2010, Jillian has made sporadic appearances for WWE, including an appearance in the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble match. While WWE and John Laurinaitis may have a bad reputation over how they treat talent, Hall has nothing but love for both parties, who helped her during one of her darkest times of her life. Earlier this week, Buff Bagwell made a strong accusation against JBL, claiming that the former WWE champion had tried to end his career. Bagwell didn't explain how JBL tried to end him during a dark match on SmackDown, but it turns out his accusation was just a case of misunderstanding. Responding, JBL said how the spot in question was a powerbomb which both men knew about, and said that while it was stiff, it wasn't dangerous, and he had no intent to injure Buff. Bagwell appreciated JBL's clarification, saying he was dumb enough to listen to others who clearly don't like the WWE Hall of Famer. The WWE Hall of Famer has a reputation as a bully who took liberties in the ring, but this time around, JBL didn't actually end up doing something bad, and that certainly surprised fans. Back to Raw as Omos and Bobby Lashley faced off in a steel cage match this week, which ended with Lashley being tossed into the cage, causing it to collapse and giving the Almighty the victory. This was a unique way for the match to end, but not the initial idea that had been in the works. WrestleVotes reports that at one point, the planned finish was for the ring to collapse under the weight of the two men, a spot that, while impressive in 2003, has been way overplayed since. While this would have been slightly different, as it would be possibly the first ring collapse with a cage, the idea was scrapped, and fans instead saw the panel breaking and Lashley flying out to victory. This feud has been in the works since before WrestleMania, and Lashley and Omos have one premium live event win each, so it'll be interesting to see how WWE raises the stakes should this angle continue. Lashley has had his hands full with Omos as of late, but there is one person that the Almighty wants another shot at. In 2018, Lashley returned to WWE under the promise of a match with Brock Lesnar, and while that did eventually happen this year, Lashley is ready to get back in the ring with the Beast incarnate. Sitting down with SoCatch, Lashley made it clear that he's not through with Brock, saying that while he pinned him, he didn't get the chance to beat him up the way he wanted. The match saw Roman Reigns interfere, giving Lashley the advantage and costing Brock the WWE Championship, which Lesnar would win back a month later. Given the controversial title change and the fact that Lesnar never pinned Lashley to regain the title, there's a lot yet to be resolved between them, meaning a rematch could very well be in both men's future. Now, before Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of this week's Raw, the planned main event was a six-pack challenge, which would have seen Banks, Naomi, Asuka, Becky Lynch, Doudrop, and Nikki A.S.H. compete for a shot at the Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. Instead, fans saw a singles match between Lynch and Asuka, leaving fans wondering what Doudrop and Nikki had done to warrant being pulled from the match as well. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer explained that the decision for the singles match was made because Lynch and Asuka had been competing at recent live events, meaning they already had a match planned out in advance. This was the far safer option than having all four women spend very little time to plan the match out, and given that neither Nikki nor Doudrop were ever meant to win the six-pack challenge, WWE decided to pull them from the bout. Naomi had originally been booked as the winner of the match, but her absence forced WWE to pull the trigger on Asuka, who will now go on to Hell in a Cell looking for a third reign as Raw Women's Champion. WWE is always looking for future prospects to join their company, and as last night's episode of NXT 2.0 showed, their latest signing is one of their youngest names to date. During the show, high school senior Thea Hall announced that she signed with WWE and has big plans to take over the NXT women's division, so we'll see if the young prospect can achieve this lofty goal after she graduates from high school next week. More from AEW next, as Jim Cornette has never been a fan of Jon Moxley's work in the company, and that hasn't changed now that he's part of the Blackpool Combat Club. The purveyor of violence has been a staple on AEW TV since returning not too long ago, and works alongside Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, and William Regal in the group. On his podcast, Cornette discussed the group, and it should come as no surprise that he's not a fan of the stable, which includes Moxley. "I've hated the entire Blackpool Combat Club since the start. I hate they put Danielson in the middle of Moxley and Yuta. I hate that Regal is being utilized in this fashion instead of being potentially the commissioner of the whole company and making matches instead of Tony's coked out hippity hopping up and down. The Blackpool Combat Club, it was Moxley's idea. We know that because he's the one behind getting drug-addicted bank robber Nick Gage public attention lately because he's an idiot and he idolizes trash like that. But now Moxley is the one responsible for taking away our heel Bryan Danielson. I'll never forgive him for that." We doubt there's anything Moxley can do that will make Cornette happy, and while the controversial wrestling personality is frothing at the mouth, the BCC has proven to be a hit with the rest of AEW's audience. When Seth Rollins came to WWE over a decade ago, it was after working for years in the Indies, and the Architect has had an incredible career since then. A four-time world champion, Rollins has had several incredible feuds to his name, but Booker T thinks he's had it far too easy. On Raw Talk, the two-time WWE Hall of Famer commented on the upcoming Hell in a Cell match between Rollins and Cody Rhodes and the different routes their careers have taken. Seth Rollins is a guy that made it to the top relatively easy, but I must say, he had a lot of help. Cody had to break himself down and rebuild himself, and that's the Cody Rhodes we see today. On Twitter, Seth fired back saying he paid his dues from the day he started wrestling at 18 years old just to build the Tyler Black name that got erased the second he joined WWE. From competing in Hell in a Cell to dealing with hostile fans, Rollins has had it far from easy in WWE, despite what the former King of the Ring may believe. We've got an update from the Nash Carter story, as the image of him impersonating Hitler that led to his release was incredibly tasteless, but he does have some people on his side. Following his release, there's been a big discussion about Carter and his actions, but one person on his side is MJF. On Twitter, MJF, who we feel we should point out is Jewish, said that he lived with Carter in the past and that he knows he's not an anti-Semite. Responding to a fan who said that this was MJF breaking character, the Salt of the Earth said that he's not a character, but rather a person with a functional brain. MJF has since deleted both tweets, while Carter, now Zachary Green, will make his wrestling return this weekend in Florida, though time will tell what kind of reception he receives. And we're ending today with NXT, which is going back on the road. During last night's episode of NXT 2.0, it was revealed that the live touring will resume from June 10th, meaning that the young future prospects will finally have a chance to experience the touring that will be expected of them on the main roster. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.